Hi, my name is Jack. I'm here to talk to you about this campaign that I found quite inspiring by the Red Cross, Bushfire Emergency Release and Recovery, and how you, as bushfire survivors for climate action, can learn from this campaign and implement these kind of strategies in a further campaign. So, first of all, the Bushfire Emergency Relief Recovery was about a campaign supporting those affected by those horrible fires in 2019 2020, the Black Summer campaign, and they looked to interpret their kind of funding towards those most affected and deliver that in the most effective manner, which I thought they really did. And that's because they jotted down some principles of how they were going to intercept those affected and support them through the funding that they received. So that was like the first step, that immediate relief that's really necessary, like making sure they have food, water, shelter, stuff like that. But long term, looking at some of these other goals like psychological support for a long term commitment to supporting those affected. I'd like to look at these three specifically: emergency relief, psychological support, resilience building, because, like, first of all, emergency relief is really important. Like, that was just the practicality. They really needed to get involved. They were from the privileged position that they had a lot of funding that they could funnel towards those communities to make sure that they had food, shelter, clothing, those essential things. But they also looked at it by offering some psychological first aid and understanding the impact that this kind of natural disaster would have on those people, like introducing some psychologists and making sure afterwards that they weren't forgotten about and they were still looking towards those communities. And in that vein, they were looking at providing some resilience building to make sure like those communities were educated and they could learn from this experience. Of course, that's not something they wanted to do initially, having undergone that traumatic event, but just looking forward and seeing how they could protect them. And I think as bushfire survivors for climate action, that's really where, as an organisation, you guys could intercept, because maybe there's not the same funding. There's a couple of differences between obviously your group and the Red Cross, which the Red Cross is a massive organisation and they have that ability, that capability to pull a lot of funding and making sure they're channeling it the right way. But maybe the opportunity is there as bushfire survivors to intercept them on a personal level and provide that kind of psychological support and resilience building through different programs. And I think that's something that, as an organization could learn from and could implement in a further program. Because look, you don't want to see like a bushfire as an opportunity, but I think there's some sort of inevitability with it, with the environment, what we're seeing overseas, that will happen this summer. So maybe that's something that, as a group, they could look forward to because they don't have that kind of support. So as we were saying, I think that's a really good way to shift the narrative because as an organization, you've outlined that you want to move away from that kind of trauma dumping and look to support a community that's undergone a bushfire disaster and might not have the capability to pull some funding. So I really think, and I really appreciated the like personal approach and that long-term commitment by the Red Cross in this program, which I really think bushfires survivors could learn from. And yeah, would love to have a chat about it. So thanks for listening to this and all the best.